In this first tutorial, I'm going to look at project setup. How you structure your project, and particularly how you set up the file side of the project itself, is extremely important. I'm running off a Mac today. Setup here is exactly the same process if you're running this on a Windows-based system. I've launched Premiere, so I have a startup screen available. And you'll notice, look, here's my general video editing drive on the desktop. So normally I would set things up to that drive in the way that I'm going to show you, but just to keep things simple, because you may not have an external drive, for this project I'm going to set the project itself up on the desktop. So when you launch Premiere, you initially get a welcome screen appear. And there's three main basic options that you need to know about on here. Create a new project, which we're going to look at in just a second. Open an existing project. So if I click on this button, it will open up a Finder window. I can navigate to where an existing Adobe Premiere project file is, such as this. Select the project, click open, and that would launch that older project. I'm just going to cancel that for the moment though, because we're not going to open an old project yet. If you've been working on some projects recently, they're listed in the welcome window, and you can just click on the link and that will launch the relevant project. You don't have to always launch from inside Premiere. You can navigate through your system, find an existing project file, double click on it, and that would also launch the project. And if Premiere was closed, that would launch Premiere for you at the same time. And that project file is effectively just a data file. It doesn't contain any of the actual media that you import into the project when you're editing. How it works is it actually links to the media itself wherever the media has been imported from on your system. There are certain advantages to this in that it doesn't have to actually convert any files to get them into Premiere, meaning that it's an almost instantaneous process that you can import media into Premiere and edit it straight away. However, it also means that you have to be organised about where you import your media from. If you just import files from all over your system, it's then linking to multiple files all over your system. But the problem comes when you move anything. So if you move any of the media, so it's in a new location, the project file no longer connects to it because it's looking for it in the old location, and you're going to have to then manually reconnect to that media. Or there is a way of doing a search, but that can be quite time consuming because it searches your entire system to try and find the files. If you move the project file into a new location, it will actually then lose the connection to all of the media that's being imported into that project. So once things are set up, you want to avoid moving any of the media, you want to avoid moving the project file in relation to the media. And that in itself then can create problems when you do need to move things. So it might be that you need to take your whole project, copy it onto an external drive, take it with you, open it up on another system, or send the project to somebody else to work on. And unless the project file can find all the media where it's expecting to find it, that isn't going to work. So somebody copies it onto their system. Suddenly the project file was looking for where all the files were on the old system, and it can't see them. Also as well, if you're not organised, you do stand the risk of accidentally moving or deleting some files that are being used in a project, and then when you go to launch that project next time, again it can't find half the files that it needs. The key to all this is being organised, and fortunately there's a fairly simple setup that you can follow here that will mean that you won't have any problems in terms of losing the connection to media, and also means that you'll be able to back up and move projects around without any problems. A simple way of setting things up basically involves creating a new folder for every project that you work on, and then making sure that everything to do with that project, all of the media files that you're going to be using within the project and the project file itself, are all saved into that one overall folder, and then repeating that process for every new project that you do. The folder for the project can be anywhere. It can be on an external drive, it can be on your desktop, it could be anywhere on your system. You can create this folder as you create a new project itself. It gives you an option to do that, or you can set up the folder first. I tend to set up the folder first and then save the project into it. So I'm going to show you it that way around. So for a minute, I'm just going to hide the Premiere Pro startup window. I'm going to go up to the Premiere Pro menu at the top left-hand corner of the screen. If you're on Windows, you don't have this menu. Just minimize the welcome screen. So it minimizes it to the bottom of your screen by hitting the little minus button. And I'm going to go hide Premiere Pro. So that's just going to leave me with my desktop available. So I'm going to set up the project on the desktop now. So I'm going to create a new folder first of all by right clicking on the desktop, choose new folder, and I'm going to call this folder something appropriate for the project I'm going to work on. So London Premiere project folder, there it is. Now everything to do with my project now needs to go in there. So another thing I've got on my desktop here is a folder called media. So imagine I've filmed this on a camera, I've copied all the files off the camera onto my system and put them all in one overall folder called media. And now what I need to do is make sure that that media goes into the folder that I'm setting up for the project. So I'm literally just going to drag and drop that into the London Premiere project folder. Just open that up for a second. Look, there it is. And there's all the video files inside it. Now, how I set things up in here may vary depending on the project that I'm working on. So I've got all my footage in one overall folder here, which I've copied into there. I may have some additional elements that I want to use. So I may have some audio files, some graphics files that I want to use. And I might very well set up some new folders inside there for those. On a big project, I may well have multiple folders in here for my footage, for different locations, different camera cards. The folders that you create in here are entirely up to you. What you call them is entirely up to you, and how many of them and what you put in them is entirely up to you. So now I've set those folders up. Here's some images I may use in the edit, so I'm going to drop those into the graphics files folder. And here's some audio files that I'm going to copy into the audio files folder, and so on. Once I've got everything organised in terms of my media in the overall project folder, I'm going to unminimize Premiere and get the home screen back up again. To create a new project then, I'm just going to hit the new project button here. So this opens up the new project window, and the two key things that you need to do here is first of all give your project a suitable name. So I'm just going to type in a name in here that's relevant to obviously what I'm going to be editing. And this is the key bit. I now need to make sure that I save this into the folder that I've set up for the project itself. And you do this by clicking the Browse button. That will then open up a Finder window, and you navigate to the folder that you've set up for the project. So I would go to my desktop, select the London Premiere project folder that I've already set up that has all my media in it, and click Choose. Once that's done, it gives you the path down which the project has been saved. So this is my user login here called training. There's my desktop, and that's going into the folder that I've set up. So that's all good. And then once you've done that, all you have to do is click the OK button, and that will then take you into Adobe Premiere itself, and you're ready to then import your media.